Like many of you, I remember exactly where I was on September 11th. I had just pooped my pants and I was having trouble wetting the bed a lot, but I was almost done wetting the bed. Like I thought that probably I could stop wetting the bed. And I had Barbies, but I wasn't allowed to have regular Barbies, or my sister wasn't allowed to have regular Barbies. She had biblical Barbies like Ruth and Esther. So they didn't look like Barbie because my mom was so against Barbie. And so what I used to do is go take Barbie in the bathtub and take baths with not Barbie, with Ruth and Esther. Because I didn't have Barbie, but I feel like that might have damaged me psychologically. All this very young child sexual experiences with biblical Barbies. Because, I'm totally into biblical Barbies now and not as much into Barbie type women. So that's where I probably was actually on September 11th. I had people fake like it was September 11th with me. What happened is someone came to me right as I was leaving my algebra class sophomore year of high school. And they say, oh, we just got attacked, 9/11 or something. And then I went to the next class, which was my world history class. And we watched it on TV. And they faked like it was September 11th when it wasn't September 11th. And I know that because I know how much my age has been changed. And I think that everyone who's paying attention to me knows how much my age has changed. But not actually experiencing the actual September 11th doesn't mean that September 11th didn't affect me profoundly. It was such a big deal to me because they faked like it was September 11th. Like the mafia did. And so I wasn't with my biblical Barbies on fake September 11th. I was actually in class with a bunch of Mexican people and because I was in remedial math because I had skipped all my grades. I'd only done one math class throughout all of middle school. It sounds like to me. For everyone that doesn't remember, September 11th turned into America has now invaded the entire world. Suddenly we have troops in Afghanistan, we have troops in Iraq, we're spending our budget ballooned to $750 billion. Everybody got rich off killing people from the Middle East. And then the Middle East started to realize the Americans are not as peaceful as they seem. The Americans really I guess there were certain countries that thought that we were violent before that because of the first Gulf War. If you read Osama bin Laden's writings, he's pretty clear about why he hates America. It's because he says that we killed between 1 and 2 million Iraqi civilians during the Iraq War, and because of our support of Israel killing civilians, because it's our bombs killing people in the Middle East, and Israel's the one doing it. And I mean, when I lived in the Middle East, a lot of I heard a lot of things about Israel that I feel I'm not allowed to say now because I have rules. When I looked at the list of online harassment, if you even if you're not talking, I don't know if I can talk about it in general, because they might say you're harassing Israel in general. Because I say something well, someone in the Middle East told me that the only reason they brought in the Ethiopian Jewish people who are very clearly against Jewish breeding rules is because they moved them to neighborhoods that Saddam Hussein was dropping missiles on, and they were trying to increase the body count. But Saddam didn't have enough missiles, is my opinion. So there were very few people that actually died from Saddam shooting missiles at Israel. This was before September 11th, way before. This was probably in the 90s. And but what everyone people from the Middle East will tell you things, and then you start going, well, those people aren't Jewish. You have to have a mother who's Jewish. That's impossible. I know because I became a Jewish person once I found out I was Jewish, and and I feel talking about Jewish people can be scary because it tends to be against the rules, which I think that it should be against the rules to talk about someone who's a very weak group of people. But when you got the president, the vice president, you got the attorney general, you got all the attorney generals, or you got a lot of them, when you got that many people in charge, when you're the lawyer representing the president and then you're the lawyer prosecuting the president, at some point, if there's any group of people I need to be allowed to talk about as Jewish people, but I tend to not be allowed to. based on the social media platforms banning me. But then if I want to start a social media platform right now, I can't, for some reason, am being prevented from making money by some mythical group of people that have decided that I can't make money off selling. I just want to mention, do you remember when Pornhub hacked the subway at in Washington D.C. and put Pornhub on it? And do you remember when Pornhub was doing all this advertising which involved them hacking people and putting Pornhub on public screens and stuff like that? I can't imagine the Rick Warren, who's probably the most famous American pastor, or Max Lucado, or a very super religious pastor owning Pornhub. And it sure seems like Pornhub was obsessed with hacking. I'm not talking about this guy at all, but all I'm saying is how in the world does no one notice that Pornhub was using their website to hack people, and that they were hacking as advertising for their company? I'm just saying, how else did it end up on the subway? No, someone just chose Pornhub randomly. Well, I had never heard of Pornhub. Next thing you know, they hacked the Washington, D.C. subway. And next thing you know, all the advertisements oh, there's porn on the computer. Oh, they put porn on the screen in front of all those people. Yeah. To me, that's kind of disgusting. I don't I know people think it's funny, but I don't think it was funny. What I'm actually trying to say on this September 11th is that I think America should be a trustworthy country. I think America should be a country that doesn't have to worry about people fighting us because we're so not trustworthy. Because the stuff we're doing is so evil. Because we instigate things. Because we're the bully. Because we're people that everyone's afraid of. Because people, it seems like a lot of people right now think that we did COVID-19. And the reality is that not very many of us did it. Very, very few of us did COVID-19. Some of us really, really hate COVID-19 just as much as all of you. Some of us passionately hate COVID-19 because we've had it too many times. And we know that it's scary. And so, America needs to be a country that is a trustworthy country where we don't have to worry about people hating us because of stuff that people are doing from our country that we don't know about. We should know what our country's doing. We have the right to know what our military is doing. We have the right to know what the president's doing. The president shouldn't be doing secret stuff. We should know what the president stands for. And all I'm saying is that this is not what we're for. We're not for selling little people that can look like kids. We're not for selling kids. We're not for keeping sex slaves. We're not for brainwashing people. We're not for screwing with people's heads so brutally that they can't function. We're not for being super evil. We shouldn't be an evil country. I think we can all agree that we want to be a country that's a shining light. What do they say? A beacon in darkness. We want to bring people to the light. And the light is a progressive future where we're nice to each other, where different races are safe, where different races are treated with respect, where different races have the same opportunities as one another, where people have plenty of food to eat, where people aren't afraid about where they're going to stay, where people have pretty nice houses, where people don't freeze to death, where people don't freaking scorch because it's so hot they die of heat exhaustion, where we are trustworthy people. And I want our country to be like that. And I think our country can be like that, but it's hard. It's hard to get there. It's hard to get there when there are that many sex traffickers that are that powerful, that are breeding with very high IQ people to make very high IQ people, and they're just trying to find the evil one. They need to find the evil person. They can't deal with people like me. They can't deal with the 190 IQ who loves that girl too much, who's that kind. They need the evil guy. I'm just going to finish with this. The mafia is racist. And when I say I will make sure you guys are okay, when I talk about my presidential campaign, and I'm the guy who you can trust to not try to kill you, to not try to steal everything from you, to not brainwash you, to not lie to you. I'm the guy who's trying to figure out what we need to do to be okay. And when I talk about that, and I talk about this beautiful, I don't know how to deal with ponytails, is the truth. Like that's my biggest problem is like I don't know how to deal with the fact that I'm trying to talk here. I'm trying to talk about everything. I'm trying to talk about how like you can think that I'm racist, but really like I am like the reaction to like the whiter than white people who are not white. Like I'm the person that sees the level of racism there and goes, okay, well, like they're the ones that want to play race games always. They're the ones that like need to like constantly piss off people about race. They're the ones that like know you can do a race bait with someone and like they're not going to think it's completely absurd. They're the ones that know that Trump's got to go with the Haitians eating dogs and cats one. Go with the Haitians eating dogs and cats. Okay? Yeah, Trump's got to go with that one. It worked. JD Vance tested it. Like they can listen to your thoughts and they know that one's going to actually work out. It's not they're not even mad. They still like JD Vance somehow. But like no one knows who anyone is. And what I'm trying to tell you is that like we're the not racist people. Like go listen to the song "Don't Call Me White" and the song "The Bruise" by NoFX, NoFX, and like. Don't call me white. I ain't part of no conspiracy. I'm just your average Joe. He is part of a conspiracy. Like he is. I was part of the conspiracy. I didn't like the conspiracy. The conspiracy doesn't want to tell me there's a conspiracy while telling me there's a conspiracy. While everyone's like trying to trick me and no one knows how to tell me there's a conspiracy, but they told me there's a conspiracy. But then they're like, oh, well, there's a conspiracy. But like, no, you're against everyone in the conspiracy. Well, why are you tricking me? Like, why are you constantly like lying to me? Like, why are you constantly trying to ruin me? And like, why are you constantly acting like that with me? I don't know why. But like, it's because there's a conspiracy. And that person told me about like a sex trafficking, anti-sex trafficking thing. And then I announced it to my whole life group. Don't talk to Alex about this is what I think she wanted me to say to my life group, which is my Bible study. Don't talk to Alex about like sex trafficking for sure. Because I feel like there were people that were in on it. And my dad sure is always screaming that I like, he doesn't work for the NSA. He doesn't work for the NSA. Well, I got recruited by the CTO and all the stations. She said, no, he doesn't work for the NSA. He doesn't work for the NSA. I feel like I haven't been doing a very good job being clear today. What I'm saying is that like, I'm afraid to talk about anything. And like, I was hanging out with this girl who came to Christian church at Max Lucado's church, and she was a Jewish person, a Hasidic Jewish person. And she was saying she got raided by the feds. And she was saying the cops are all in on it. And she was like telling me things. And then her mom is the one that tells me about this sex trafficking organization, the Red Thread Group. And I think Red Thread has to do with like the string is red, like this is like a drug deal, like a string cheese, like waiting for drugs, but like instead the string is red, it's moving, like it's moving right now. But it was Red Thread, which is a good way of saying it in code. And like I didn't get that like I didn't get that they were for sex trafficking and they needed me to speak passionately about sex trafficking in front of my Bible study to like be clear to everyone, this guy doesn't know about the sex trafficking. And my age was that changed. And I think that her daughter was that young. I've started to realize it. And so like that's a person that seems to indicate that her daughter told me there's a conspiracy. Like she said, it seems like there's a Jewish conspiracy. And I was like, yeah, what? That was the first time I heard it. And then my dad was like, she's not even Jewish. Like my dad like comes to me and tells me that. Like your mom's not even Jewish, wasn't even Jewish, right? She converted. Let's think about this religion. Like if you're a Christian, you've studied the religion, it's silly. Like why is everyone in charge part of the silliest freaking religion? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic, but I'm just saying, like, that's a silly freaking religion. Like, you got to go burn offerings, and we can't go into the Holy of Holies, but no one knows where the Holy of Holies is. Like, but, like, I mean, really, like, clearly everyone can go in the Holy of Holies now. Like, and Origin, like, is proof that people went in the Holy of Holies that much. The altar was rent. And so, like, there are certain people that are Jewish, especially, but also like they're not Jewish anymore. Like my dad was never Jewish ever. Like, but he was involved with sex trafficking, and like, but it doesn't mean that they're allies. They don't know who their allies are, and it's a conspiracy that involves like everyone's for them. Like they're only for themselves, and they're really the last thing that they are is like actually worried about people that aren't Jewish. Like unless like they have like I already have a number for you, like $400 for $400 million for this project for the black people. Yeah, of course, black people get that money. I'm allocating it in the budget. I promise. I think the reality is that like you don't even understand how the budget works. Like you don't even know how much money people are getting by controlling the presidency, and no one else can run. So this Jewish girl I knew wanted me to impregnate her. Like she wanted me to marry her. Like she offered me money to marry her. And like, but I'm not Jewish. And then like, she had told me about the conspiracy like a day or two before, like that there's some sort of conspiracy. And like, if there's anything I'd started experiencing, it's this weird conspiracy thing. And then like, she was in my car with my dad, and my dad was like, your mom converted to Judaism, right? Like you guys weren't Jewish, right? And she was like, no, we weren't. She wasn't Jewish. She did convert to Judaism. And so like somehow my dad, who's never met her mom ever, knows that I need to get my nose broken in the right direction. No, he knows that she converted to Judaism, but like he's never met her before. Like, and he met her. She shows up to my house, and she gave me presents, and then the police came and broke my door handle after she gave me presents. Because like she came over and she gave me like a code book, like and some weird stuff out of nowhere. And like, cause she was like very excited to see me. Like when she saw me, oh God, thank God you're here. And then I was told that she was in my head. Like it was a very weird experience. I got scared about her being in my head. But yeah. So like then the police broke my door handle the day she visited my house. Or like the next day, I think, because her mom came to my house. Then we were at church, and while we were at church, they ripped my door handle off just upstairs. Like they didn't steal anything. And my mom and I ended up going to the store to fix it. We went to Home Depot and bought a door handle, and no one would talk about it. Like my whole family was like, it was almost like, we're gonna drop it. We don't call the cops on that one.